Hi, everyone. Welcome to Magic in the Matrix. I'm your host, Kelsey White, and here I am with
Alexander Fox.
what's up, Mr. Fox? Look at this hat moment. I love it.
I got this hat in Asheville, North Carolina earlier this year.
Oh, that's a really cool place. I haven't been there, but I hear there's a lot of metaphysical happenings there. Super cool. What you been thinking about? What's going on?
What have I been thinking about? I had this random thought of if I was an artist and like I knew I was going to reincarnate into being an artist in this lifetime, what country would I live in?
Do you have your answer? I'm gonna think of mine too.
Okay. The first place was the obvious one, France.
Yeah.
But if I wanted to go like super out there, I would choose like Uzbekistan
Work. Why Uzbekistan?
because it's so random and being on like that side of the world where maybe art isn't as prominent, that maybe you can turn Uzbekistan into something even more beautiful than what it really is to showcase to the world.
That's awesome. You know what? I think we should, after this, look up in like whatever Uzbekistani artists are currently, see what's popping.
Oh
Maybe
my
you're
God.
channeling some of that already. I like it. All right. My answer is going to be not quite as surprising, but not France, Mexico City. No, Mexico for the country. Mexico
Mexico.
City, sure. I was just thinking about Mexico City recently. There
Mm,
is so much culture, color, heart in Mexico. And I feel like if
mm.
you were like this big famous artist in Mexico City, you'd be channeling like a vibrance that I'm not sure that we have as always in America. Like here in America, we're just like work, work, work. And I was actually doing some work with some Mexican partners of ours once, and they just
Mm.
had so much heart and hospitality and vibrance that I've always wanted to channel a bit more of that in my life. So that's my answer, Mexico.
I love that. I haven't been to New Mexico City or haven't been to Mexico
we're
City.
crashing out. New
Oops.
Mexico City, Mexico City. Okay, the country of Mexico City, Mexico City, not to be confused with New Mexico State. There we are.
My bad. Have you been to Mexico City before?
I have, yes, I have. It's
I'm
there's
jealous.
there's some really cool spirituality there. So future retreat destination, you could see it.
It's happening.
Maybe a Dia de los Muertos event with like some shrines to our ancestors. That's really ooh, guys, Magic in the Matrix crew. We have some things brewing in our future.
They got some pyramids in Mexico too.
Yeah, I've been to some of those too. Major activation. Me in a pyramid, you're going to see me at a pyramid.
Been to Egypt
Okay.
too. So
I have been to Egypt crew, so I will go back if we have a retreat at any pyramid, but Egypt activation is unmatched. I digress though. Today we are here to talk about chakras. So, chakras are energy centers that really govern kind of our states of physical, emotional, and even spiritual health. And so there's many centers throughout our body, but seven main ones that we're going to talk about in three parts. So we've got a lot of wisdom to share. So chakras can be blocked kind of depending on our levels of ease or dis-ease. So typically if people have dis-ease, right, disease, like we think about, then there are some sort of blockages that are either like an emotional blockage or physical blockage. Many times those are related. And so these are things that you can kind of tap into and heal, just like how people that go to acupuncture get healing from their blockages in their energy meridians through needles, right? Like a needle goes in and acupuncture practitioner knows how your meridians are attached to different emotions and physical sensations and how they all interrelate in your body. And then they put these needles into that center associated with those emotions or physical problems and sort of unblock that energy meridian blockage, right? So if you ever hear of Reiki healing or energy healing, typically there's some sort of spiritual practitioner of which Mr. Fox here is a master. And you can actually, I've studied this as well. You can learn to really like tune into clear your own body out and tune into the energy centers of other people and kind of channel through this very healing energy that works through intuition and this healing power to unblock those blockages. So you don't need that needle, right? You have this other skill set, but it's very, very similar in practice. So sometimes people think that energy healing or Reiki healing is so out there, but they're comfortable with acupuncture. And I think that's a little bit funny because to me, it seems very, very similar, but I appreciate there's a little bit of woo woo to get you over that edge into the more energetic, intuitive healing. But we're going to talk about these 7 major chakras in the next couple episodes. There are many more. There are so many energy centers, but the 7 that we will discuss will be the root chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the heart chakra, which is my personal favorite and will be a full episode because we love it, your throat chakra, your third eye chakra, and your crown chakra. And so the first 3 that I mentioned are our lower chakras, which we will discuss today. So today is our lower chakra episode. We'll do some overviews, kind of talk about the physical and emotional, spiritual implications, and hopefully teach you all a little bit. So starting with the root, do you want to kind of give your thoughts on the root chakra?
I sure will. So the root chakra is located at the base of your spine and just below, like on your backside, and then on the front side, just below like your hips, and then like the pubic bone. And this represents how safe you feel being in your body, how connected you are to Mother Nature, Mother Gaia, and what your foundation in life is built upon. So, are your finances good? Is your career really good? Do you feel great in being in relationships and forming relationships? And the more that we have balance and flow with them, then we can really feel comfortable being in our body. And we could feel not grounded if, we're worried a lot. We don't feel safe in who we are and like in what we're being in this life. Maybe our finances are not that good. We're not great with money or saving or spending too much, or saving too much and not spending on the things maybe that can really help us.
Drag
You know,
me.
massages. Maybe even like traveling or getting some awesome food. It's good to treat yourself every once in a while. And a few things to go with this that may be able to help you to have more balance with your root chakra is to wear the color red, kind of like what Kelsey's wearing. The color red will help trigger just like a grounding presence. And the more that you can like focus on it and like just put your energy towards like your spine and like even more towards your legs and your feet, the more comfortable you'll start to feel, and you'll actually get out of your mind a little bit faster too.
Gorgeous.
And
This is some great info. I love it. I love it.
yeah, cool.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Anything else on the root? I've got some thoughts too.
Yeah, 2 more things. So there's a little mantra that's in Sanskrit. It's called Lam.
Oh,
So if you just chant it like Lam, you can do that a few times, and then that'll really help ground your energy more. And then a mudra, which is like hand placements. If you like put your hands together like this, and then put middle fingers up,
ooh, middle. Okay,
mhm,
got it.
and then place your index knuckles together. So it's going to look like that. Yep. And then the thumb goes down, and it'll look like this.
Ooh.
And that's the mudra for the root chakra. And you can just hold this while you chant Lam for like 30 seconds to a minute if you're just starting out. But if you're an intermediate or even advanced, then try it for like 5 or 10 minutes. But just play with it, see how it makes you feel, how you sound. Don't judge yourself, and just have fun on that journey. So, yeah.
Beautiful. I love the mudra and the mantra. That's extremely channeling some good stuff. If you're like me and you can't remember the mantra in that way, another mantra for the root chakra is I am safe. I am grounded. So if you want to repeat that to yourself as well, or in lieu of that, or pick your poison day by day. Like he said, that this root chakra is really about this like groundedness and safety in your body. I would
Mhm.
say that an imbalanced root chakra, you do feel like, okay, like I'm in charge of my life, like my finances are in order, I have this sense of self and a sense of groundedness, and it can be really important. So Alexander and I were talking before we recorded this podcast that sometimes spiritual people will, meditate a lot and they're doing all of these kind of spiritual experiences and having these really conscious conversations, but they kind of forget to ground into the root chakra. And so I'm a big advocate of the root chakra. Sometimes people are like, oh, that's too kind of like 3D and, just worrying about money in your house and stuff. But wow, like to be able to integrate your spiritual kind of insights and your higher self into sort of like this Gaia consciousness and into your body and into your soul in that way is very important. So I would definitely be very cognizant of ignoring the root chakra for any people that are really in this new spiritual awakening type journey and wanting to just have these crazy like psychedelic or like trippy experiences in their meditations, because without that balance of this grounded level of your consciousness, you kind of lose the plot a little bit, right? Like we incarnate, my perspective, to learn lessons. And if you're not really interacting with like your actual physical experience in your physical body, sometimes maybe you're missing some of the lessons that your soul really wanted you to learn as well. But yeah, like he said, you can really invite in this root energy with the color of red. Some emotions associated with this can be anger or worry a little bit, right? Like sometimes people have an overactive root chakra energy if they're constantly worrying about finances or just their day to day routine. So one time I even was doing a lot of spiritual work and clearing, but I was also just doing the most, just very, very busy. And I got an aura photo actually, and it was like all red, which I'm like, I'm not mad at anyone. What's going on?
Whoa.
But the psychic aura photographer was like, I think you're just got a lot on your plate, right? Like if you're constantly going from thing to thing and taking on a lot of responsibility, sometimes your root chakra can take over your auric field, which I was told that there's no bad color and aura and energy, but I kind of wanted mine to be all trippy. But no, I had just come from work. It's totally fine. So again, just noting when we go through these chakras, there's no like good or bad chakra. There's no better chakra to be in. Actually, having really balanced energy through the chakra system is kind of the goal. So, want to make sure that you're feeling imbalanced, not overactive, not underactive in any of these chakras. Noting for some a little bit more challenging manifestations of chakra blockages in your root, if you're feeling, of course, like really unsafe with money, then your root chakra is going to have a little bit of activation and a blockage. But also, if you're feeling unsafe in your home, like if you have a difficult domestic situation, you have like domestic violence in your relationship, or you really, really don't feel seen with the people you live with, this is going to indicate that you're going to have some real major problems with your root chakra, right? Because you don't feel safe in your home and your body. And so, if this is a circumstance for you, I hope it's not, but this is something we're kind of really channeling that grounding and that breath to get in your body and just calming that nervous system to that lower level will be a life force and a savior as you work through some of these topics. So, not to bring the mood down, but this is, sometimes healing stuff for really intense kind of situations. And that's a little bit why some of us go into these healing practices, is to support and lift up and teach people that are in their more challenging moments. So love and light to you. Hopefully you have all the money and safety and joy and groundedness you can
Mm.
dream of.
That was a lovely explanation. Beautiful, beautiful job.
Thank you. All righty. Well, let's move on
Yeah,
to the sacral. You want to give an intro again? I loved it. You have such good thoughts.
sure. So this the sacral chakra is in between your navel and your hips, and just above the base of the spine in the back. And this represents like your feelings, your emotions, your creativity, and your sexuality. And people may tend to have like, oh, it also represents the color orange. And some people may have like overactive, like feelings and emotions that are like really strong and potent. Like they've had very bad, situations or scenarios in life that, were just really down in the dumps, Debbie Downers. And, it sticks with them and it kind of affects them from moving on, moving forward in life. Or maybe, you're not getting enough, maybe sexual pleasure. sometimes, and if you don't know how to harness your own sexual energy, then you could do things to manipulate it in ways that may not be best serving you and also hindering you in other aspects of like maybe how you're uh, putting yourself out there in dating or in relationships. But if you're so used to like these other things that are really low and keeping you like stagnant and not having you be in your full creativeness, then it could really hinder you. So we want to make sure that we can find balance, that we can express our emotions, express our feelings, and know that even if quote unquote we're not getting some, that you can still harness your sexual energy and put it into like your creativity, into your authenticity, because then you'll start to grow that energy more and expand it within yourself. You'll be able to use the law of attraction to really bring in someone divine, very cosmic, to match that energy and then slowly build with it and see what other magic could happen. So, oh,
Beautiful. Your mantra and mudra. Now we're locked in. Let's hear it.
the mantra is VAM. So it'll be VAM. And then the mudra for it is you place both of your thumbs underneath your middle and index finger, and then those knuckles connect, middle and index, and then your pinky and ring fingers touch like that. And then you can just hold this, like you can either hold it right where the sacral chakra is, or if you're depending on how you're sitting or what feels good, you can hold it in front of your heart too. And again,
Excellent.
like if you're a beginner, 30 seconds to a minute, and if longer, by all means, go for it. See how you feel.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So my mantra, if you can't remember that, or you want to play both cards for the sacral chakra, is I flow, I create, I receive. Really, this chakra, so I don't know if you mentioned the location, but it's kind of like it's where your sexual organs are, right? Like a little bit below your belly button. Maybe he said that. But again, that is like that energy, that sexual energy is so much in that creativity energy, right? Like sometimes even like in an astrology chart, I have a twin and he might like create a baby with someone and I'm creating like a project. It's the same kind of energy to create something kind of fresh. And so I think sometimes there are certainly many sexual blockages, especially in our culture. But sometimes people overemphasize the sexual part of it just because it's the sexual energy. And that's such like a spicy topic, but that like being able to just create and play and be in joy and receive, like that's very much intertwined with it. I'd be remiss not to note that, especially as a woman in America, I grew up in a fundamentalist Christian religion where, especially for women, sexuality is supposed to be so repressed and tampered down. And so many women, so I work a lot with women and speak a lot vulnerably with women. Many women have like this great shame that's kind of sitting in their sacral chakra, just blocking it. And they're like, there's just in their subconscious, like well below their conscious awareness, is all this shame, like you can't have any sexual pleasure or this is not appropriate. Or even like an overcorrection to that sometimes, where people are like, be this crazy feminist and be this like wildly open, like wildly tantric, like sex goddess. And like maybe you're neither of those things. And that's okay. Like you don't have to be like this archetype of like a sexual energy as a woman or as a person. But I definitely wanted to know that my experience with women, both from the sexual repression kind of conditioning, as well as some of that like needing to do and not really being the receivers in many ways. And if God forbid, like sometimes a woman like kind of asks for something and people are like, oh, you just want my money or this or that. Receiving is hard for women for so many reasons. So if you're a woman and you identify with those blockages in your sacral, like maybe like try on some orange clothes. Orange isn't my color, but I think that's an indication of this being probably my least represented chakra. That's actually a really interesting thought. We'll go through the colors of each chakra, and sometimes you'll get little tells on how you feel about chakras depending on how you feel of the color. But maybe eat some oranges, dance, right? Like the sacral chakra, like if your hips are moving, you're dancing and you're singing, you're expressing, you're creating. That's a really healing and beautiful way to open up that energy without having to like suddenly have like all of your sexual trauma lifted, which is just so out of reach for some of us. So yeah, I think it's a really beautiful, and you can get into that like child expression energy, like write a poem. I don't know, there's, it doesn't have to be so overt if you feel like you need some stepping stones to help you, but there's definitely many ways to kind of express and create and receive to really help with some of those traumas.
Wow. That was awesome.
Thank you. Hey,
Yeah.
it's affirmation day, I think. Look at you. We
Yeah.
love the chakras. We've both thought about them quite a bit, huh?
Yeah, we have. Yeah. In our own ways and being able to expand them as we keep learning. It's amazing.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful. All righty, on to solar plexus. Go for it. We love your intros.
The solar plexus. So this is in between your sternum and then into your belly button. And this represents your action taking, your courage, your self confidence, and like how you are showing up in the world. So if we have like an overactive solar plexus, that means we're taking too much action, that we keep doing too many activities. We're trying to do all the things like hang out with our friends. We're trying to work too much. We want to watch the game or, like maybe go do this and that. And then it just becomes like too much. And then at least for me, when I took too much action, I felt that there was like a shield inside of my stomach. And it was so hard for me to just take action when all
Mm.
I had to do was rest,
Mm.
bring myself back into balance, where I didn't have to take action. I didn't have to put myself out there. I didn't have to show up for anyone else other than myself in my own home or out in nature. And that was a huge lesson for me because even before that, I used to have like an underactive solar plexus at times where I was afraid to put myself out there. I didn't know how I was going to express myself in my gifts of spirituality, Reiki and sound healing and all that, because I really worried about what other people would think about me.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was hurting me. And then I was like, damn, I know I got to do something, but I'm afraid to. And then that can really cripple you internally as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you for sharing so vulnerably. That's quite the experience with the solar plexus. Do you have your mantra and your mudra you can share on solar plexus?
I do. The color is yellow and the mantra is Ram. So it's going to go Ram. And then the mudra is pretty simple. It's your index finger and ring finger, and they meet at your thumb.
Hold on, I did the wrong one. Okay, yeah, there we go. Fam, if you did it wrong at first, you're with me. Can you flip it?
Yeah, you do that, and then you place them on both of your knees, or one hand on each knee.
Let's get my knees centered.
And then, of course, you can think the mantra in your mind, or you can think and see the color yellow in your vision and sit with it for however long feels good for you.
Beautiful. All right, guys. So I have a different mantra, as you know. My
Mm.
solar plexus mantra is I'm masculine, I'm manifest. And I say it like that. So when I'm doing my little progression, like I'll try to kind of embody with my voice sort of the vibe of the chakra. So like the sacral, I'm like, I flow, I create. I even will be like, I'm coquettish on the solar plexus. Like I'm masculine, I'm manifest, I am confident. Like, let hear me roar, warrior energy. So the solar plexus energy, of course, is very masculine, but it's very doing. It's action oriented. That's like right when he said, if you have an underactive solar plexus, you're just like not confident to take action. So if you listen to our episode about just like taking that first step, the solar plexus is intricately entwined with that. So a lot of people just don't have their like this confidence that they can do things, or that like they know where to begin. And instead of kind of working through step by step and like, I'm confident I can do this, they just kind of think like, oh, I don't know what to do. I just give up. And really, the solar plexus invites you to just have that assertion and that will and that drive to work through any sort of, paradigm where you're feeling stuck or stagnant. Like, just get to work and do something. Like, take a step, take another step. And so, this is a very active one for me, honestly. That's why I have like all these ideas about the steps. But there's just this level of like inner knowing you need that I'm going to take a step and I'm going to figure it out. And if you're finding that you've not really tapping into your solar plexus from an underactive perspective, like really invite that yellow in, give yourself these like, I can do it. I can do it. Like, it's just that confidence, and then show yourself with your actions that you take a step and that you can handle it if it's not successful the first time, and you can keep going. And so I think an overactive solar plexus, like you said, is you're doing the most, you're not grounded, you're not feeling your feelings or playing it all, right? That can be me too in my life, where I'm like, if I just keep going and fighting, then I will win. But that kind of was at the expense of my sacral play and my femininity in many ways. And I don't know if this is textbook, so I'd be curious what you think. But sometimes I've seen in people's energetic field that like your adjacent chakra, one might pull so much energy that the other one is just like dangling out there. I see that so often with the sacral and solar plexus. So some people will be like, I'm just receiving, like I can't do anything. I'm just a girl, but any gender, like just help me. And then their solar plexus isn't activated to just do and have confidence that they can figure it out. Or the other, where people are doing. And then their sacral, their play, their like ability to just have fun and receive ideas or kind of co-create with people just kind of gets blown out of the water. So yeah, I think that level of confidence is very, very critical to the solar plexus, and it's a very masculine energy. So regardless of your sex or gender, this masculine energy is present in all of us. And then that feminine energy and that sacral chakra is present in all of us. So seeking to balance those out, again, like we don't want one chakra, none of the others. We want all of them to be represented with this flow of energy, right? Like you're thinking about the acupuncture meridians, same thing with these chakras, like the energy is just flowing between them, among them. And sometimes you're conjuring your more grounded energy. Sometimes you're conjuring your heart energy. Sometimes you're conjuring your masculine. Sometimes you're conjuring your feminine, but they're all very important. So that's why we wanted to give like a pretty comprehensive overview on all of them and have you all learn a little bit of mantras and skills to invite more in. But that solar plexus one really can get you.
It sure can, in so many different ways, just like how we show up
Absolutely.
in all the ways of life, like even on this podcast, or even with friends, or even with strangers, or creating a big project, or just putting yourself out there in front of millions of people just so you could be you. And even taking care of yourself, like diet is pretty important, as it's going through the digestive tract and into our intestines as well. And you also touched on food earlier, like you can eat oranges for your solar, or for your sacral, excuse me. You can do that with like any of your chakras. If you're eating that color, then you're actually helping that energetic center.
Oh yeah, I was going to say, if you want to invite some solar plexus upgrades, I have a banana. Why not?
Yeah.
What else is yellow?
I'll put some lemon in your water.
Took me a sec.
Yeah. Squash, yellow pepper.
Oh, there we go. Quick aside, a colleague of mine was eating a yellow pepper like an apple at lunch the other day.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you ever had one of these? And I was like, a pepper, yes, but like an apple, no. So funny actually thinking about that from the solar plexus perspective. Like he's really bringing in that That's masculine energy. I guess I should just say one more on solar plexus is I mentioned in the mantras, I manifest, but we will get into manifestation. I think it's maybe Alexander's favorite topic on earth. So there, you will not get away from some episodes on manifestation. But that ability to have that inner confidence and knowing like that anything's possible, and this doing and achieving and thriving in this like very active action oriented way, that solar plexus energy is a very critical piece in your manifestation. So yeah, just note that if you're one of those people that has your little TikTok algorithm and all the manifestations, like you want your solar plexus in check to have that confidence in your underlying kind of belief system that it's possible. Cool. Well, this is a great episode in the lower chakras. Any more thoughts on your most active or your most opportunity chakras? On the lower three only.
Okay. Recently, my root chakra has been more balanced as I'm starting to put myself out there and opportunities are coming back to me.
Mhm.
And for sure, my sacral has been the most prominent as emotions and feelings and creativity and sexuality have been very important to me and how I'm showing up in a very different way than what I
Mhm.
did even last year. And I'm working on my solar plexus a little bit more. There's more stuff for me personally to do, like kind of by myself as I'm here in Austin,
Mhm.
Texas.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will say when I learned about the chakras, I was like, oh, I think all mine are out of balance. Just like, wow. I
Just
think a lot of
everywhere.
people have that feeling because there's little things we all have to improve. But no, I would say my most I was gonna say my most imbalance was solar plexus, but maybe it's overactive, right? Like I have a little bit of trouble just like slowing down and just like I'm trying to think. No, you know what? Let's be cool to myself. I think my solar plexus is pretty good because I'm a doer. I'm confident. Maybe a little over, but I'm gonna be cool to my solar plexus because my sacral, that receiving is for sure my opportunity. And I think the key is, I mean, I know the key, right? Play, creativity, feeling more into my sexual energy. That's just been
Yeah.
on the table while I work on my masculine energy. So balancing masculine and feminine energy is been a really interesting paradigm for me for a while, in which I am making progress. And one of my pet interests is masculine and feminine energy. So you guys will be hearing about that too.
Yes, as we both have gone through some dark nights of the soul, being in feminine and in masculine, the both of us in our own ways. So the more that we get to share about that and somehow have it relate to you, then it'll open up your world that much more.
Beautiful. You know that's how wisdom comes through trials and tribulations, fam.
Oh yeah, we're here for it. We're doing it.
Well, I'm on my way to either New Mexico, Mexico City, or Mexico.
Mexico in all the ways.
Thank you all for listening to Magic in the Matrix episode on the lower chakras. We are extremely excited to talk heart chakra on the next episode. So please like, subscribe, share if you enjoyed the episode. We hope you gained something from this conversation, and we'll see you soon. Love you, fam.
Have fun, y'all. Enjoy.